Hello everyone. So today we will be starting the module 2 ER diagram and constraints. So before moving to the ER diagram, first we will see what is a constraint and the types of constraints. So basically the constraints in very simple terms we can say that constraints are nothing but a set of rules that we are going to apply to the table of columns to ensure that we are maintaining the table with a very great accuracy, integrity and much more reliable. Because when we are creating a table, we need to be very much sure that a primary key is there, and if we are going to refer one table, that particular row should be present. So there are certain things that we need to consider while creating a table in a database. So first let's see the types of constraints in DBMS so that we will get much more clear what each and every constraints, what is the exact meaning and why are we using this. So first one is the key constraint. So a key constraint is nothing but a unique identifier. So you must be knowing what is a primary key. So why we are using primary key? Because in order to uniquely identify a person, we need a concept called primary key. So suppose if two persons are having same name, we don't have any other option but to set a primary key. So in that particular option only we will be able to recognize them differently. Otherwise we won't be able to. But see this example. This is one of the example that I have included in this particular document. So here, see this roll number. It is in the red. So the name Sharon and Avin, they are both of them are having the same roll number, which means the ID is 01, which is not possible because I won't be able to identify. So if I call roll number 1, both will get up. So that should not be happening. So which means that uniqueness should be there. And if I'm using this particular field, this particular column, that value should not be in null. So the only possible way is that we need to change the unique ID, which means Sharon should have his own ID and Avin should also be having his own ID. Otherwise, we won't be able to recognize these students differently. So that is the idea, that is the concept of the one type called key constraint. Now we do have several types of key constraints. So this is the main concept of key constraints that we have learned. Now we do have some types. So these are the keys. The types of the key constraints is the types of keys. So this already we have covered in the first chapter. So the candidate key, the types of keys are candidate key, primary key, alternate key, foreign key, super key and composite key. Now let's see all these one by one. So what will I say is you will be know the definition of a primary key, but it's better if you study first the concept of the candidate key. Now why are we studying first the candidate key? Because from the candidate key only we are selecting the concept of primary key. Now let's see what is a candidate key. See, candidate key is like in a table, there might be a possibility that we can have more than one unique column. Because in this particular example, it is very evident that student ID can be a ID. It can be a unique ID. Email can also be a unique ID. Phone can also be a unique ID. So which means here email, same thing, same person cannot have a like same email ID. It can be different based on their names, uh, their choice, and also the phone number also it cannot be same. So these all columns are, we can uniquely identify a person very easily. But the thing is that we need to, when it comes to a primary key, it will be like a single column. We are only choosing a single column for a primary key, but here we don't know how we are going to select this because I have three options with me: student ID, email and phone number. So candidate key, it's like a set of one or more attributes that I can uniquely identify a row. So from the candidate key only we are going to select the primary key. So I can choose this. The option is upon me. But the thing is that I'm very much confident. Now I'm going to decide which one I'm going to choose it as a primary key. Now here I'm going to choose the student ID as a primary key. Why did I choose the student ID as a primary key? Because there might be a scenario where email can be null or phone number can be null. Because if I'm talking about a school, like there might be issue if they are asking some personal phone number, if that student is not having the personal mobile phone, definitely this particular cell will become null. but we are not promoting null values, but I'm much more confident enough to give this particular student ID as a primary key. If it comes to email ID, there might be a scenario where the student is not having an email ID. So I'm much more very much confident that if I choose the student ID as a primary key. So I believe you guys just got the difference between how the candidate key and the primary key is related to each other. So candidate key, from the candidate key itself, we are going to choose the primary key. So candidate key will be the set of more attributes which can uniquely identify a row, and primary key will be a single column that we can uniquely identify a row. So here I'm going to take the student ID as a primary key. So candidate key is done, primary key is also done. Now, third one is the alternate key. So alternate key, from the name itself, is very clear, because from this example, these all peoples were candidate key from student ID to phone. Now, student ID I choose as a primary key. The remaining IDs, remaining what all IDs are there, which means email and phone number, it acts as a alternate key. Likewise, you need to understand. Then the next one is the super key. So super key is like the remaining the things that we have seen. It was like we were referring only in a single column, because in the case of candidate key, these all peoples, even though if I have student ID, even though if I have email ID alone, if I have phone number alone, I will be able to uniquely identify a student if it is not null. In the case of primary key also, if I have student ID, I can uniquely identify a row. But when it comes to super key, the thing is that I can combine one or more attributes in order to uniquely identify a person, which means if I have student ID and email, I can uniquely identify the person name called Sharon. If I have student ID and phone number, I can uniquely identify a person called Avin. So that way, yeah, okay. One thing is that in super key, if I combine, even though if I can combine, if I have the student ID and name, sorry, if I anything, if I have the student ID and age, I can uniquely identify the Sharon, which means a particular primary key can combine with non-prime attributes in order to uniquely identify a row. Okay, so which means I will again repeat a particular primary key. So this is our primary key. We have finalized this is our primary key. So this primary key, if I combine with another non-prime attribute called age, I can uniquely identify a person called Sharon. So likewise the other rows. So which means here combination can be happen. See, these are all the possible combinations. Primary key can be, non-prime can become, prime attribute can come. Whatever combinations is there, more than one you can combine. So there is no restrictions, like if this set is possible, the single set is possible, the student ID email is possible, a combination of student ID phone is possible, student ID and name is possible. These all combinations are possible. So combinations of prime attribute and non-prime attributes are possible. But the thing is that we need a primary key. This is the primary key. Now the last one is the composite key. So composite key is the mostly it is similar to super key, but the only difference is that if I'm going to combine with my primary key, my second, now like whatever attribute that I'm going to combine, it should be a prime attribute. That is one of the one of the rule that we need to follow in a composite key, which means when I take this particular example, in super key we discussed that if I combine the student ID with email or phone or name or age, it was okay. But in the case of composite key, the concept is a bit different. If I'm going to combine the student ID with age, that is not possible, because age is a non-prime attribute. So if I wanted to combine, I should be combining with student ID and email, because email is a it's like a unique attribute for us. Similarly, student ID and phone is also possible, but student ID and name is not possible, because name is again a non-prime attribute. So that is the another concept of a composite key. Now comes the foreign key. So foreign key, I believe you know how we are going to refer a table, and practicals you might have been learning. So foreign key, it's like they are saying you should be knowing the proper syntax of a foreign key, how to connect two tables. So first we will create a table. When we then we are going to refer, when we are going to create a second table, we are going to refer that first table which we have created. So that syntax you should be knowing. So like the example is like that. See, this is the student table and this is the enrollment table. So here the thing is that this will be my primary table and this will be my the secondary table, which this particular table will act as a foreign key table. So here, if I wanted to refer the student ID, we should be writing the code, right? Because when we create a table, we should be writing foreign key references, the first table of which attribute, okay, from the table name. So likewise, you will be writing a particular syntax. So whatever I'm referring to, we need to make sure that if I'm going to refer the student ID 101, it should be there in my primary table. If it is not there, means there is no meaning for referring a particular table, right? So if I'm going to refer 104, I need to make sure that that 104 is present in the primary table or not. If it is not present, means no use. So these are all the types of the types of key constraints. The other constraints we will be learning on the next class. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your time.